Good morning, everybody. This is Jamie with Gold Key Inspection Services, and today we are honored to have Tyler Secrist with us. He is from Century 21 Bradley. He has got a rockin' business going, and he's going to explain a little bit of that to us today. So thanks for coming, Tyler. Appreciate your effort getting up here.
It is my pleasure, man. Truthfully, I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to have this interview.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here. So let's jump right into it. How did you get into real estate?
Okay, $1 million question. No. And like I just shared with you off camera, I feel like answering this question is going to give you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, because I feel like this is going to reach a lot of people to give them more context on who I am, where I came from, and kind of why I'm at where I'm at, right now. Mm-hmm. How I got into real estate is a very loaded question. We're going to go back to the age of 12, okay? Yeah. I grew up in a small family business, okay? I grew up in Auburn, Indiana. My family owns a company called Secrist Lawn Care. It was formerly called Green Grow. Most people in Fort Wayne know that business by Green Grow. It was created by my Uncle Denny. My dad bought it like 25 years ago, or a piece of it, and it is what it is today now. So this all goes back, man, to the age of 12, right? So I'm the oldest boy of two. I've got a younger brother named Chase. It's just my mom and dad. My dad started that business with, we had nothing, man. I mean, I come from nothing. I grew up 2 doors down from Section 8 housing. I was right there with dad, okay? I watched dad build that business. And like I said, when I started working at 12, you start to, innately learn, and a lot of these main skills that have played out later in my business life were kind of programmed into me naturally because of the environment that I was in. Mm-hmm. So when kids get to go on summer vacations, or they go to Florida on spring break, like, dude, I was working. I was plowing snow on our commercial lots. Spring break, when kids were in Florida, I was pushing grass, mowing grass, right? Yeah. So I was doing that all through high school. I was under a lot of pressure, kind of, to like get an athletic scholarship to be able to go to school, because of how tight things were, and what my dad was building at the time. And very good soccer player. I ended up playing Division I soccer at IPFW, what is now called Purdue Fort Wayne. Highly recruited, highly touted. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that people don't know about me. So that's why I'm excited to be here and share a lot of this with you, because a lot of these things are, you can start to connect the dots. The more you learn about me, you're like, oh, this makes total sense now, why and how he's making the moves that he's making. So I, growing up, I'd say by age 15, 16, that's when I knew I had a scholarship in the bag. But I was the type of person, and just being in that environment, it was, you want to strive to be the best you, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's core principles that were kind of established that will probably get brought up repeatedly throughout this interview, because I always go back to these core pillars, and it's the hard work, the patience, the consistency, right? It's the pillars that you've probably built your business on today. There's no secret, and it was like, okay. And the NCAA has a statistic: only 1% of high school athletes go on to play, at the Division I level.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah.
So at age 15, 16, I was like, okay, I had NAIA programs in the bag, D2, D3, but like that wasn't good enough for me. I want to play, with the big dogs. Right. Luckily, we had a really big travel team in Fort Wayne. At the time, there were 3 or 4 local clubs, but the premier club was a program called Fort Wayne Fever. It's now called Fort Wayne United. Shout out to Bobby Porzingis and Nick Potter. They've kind of combined them, and they're kind of emulating that European circuit now. But at the time, it was called Fort Wayne Fever. Made the team when I was 14, and we had probably one of the best teams this state had, at the time. We won the state championship when I was 15, 16, 17. I think when we all graduated, 9 of the 22 guys we had on the team went on to play at Division I programs. Wow. So we had a really good team, yeah. When I got to that point in my life, I wanted to just get started. I was over the high school thing. I actually graduated a semester early, so I didn't do the senior prom. I didn't go to that last semester. I was lucky enough to be in some advanced courses to have enough credits to graduate and get out. So I enrolled in college, sooner. Started training with the team sooner. Got to university, and that was probably one of the biggest moments in my life that was kind of like life-changing, or it was a major shift in energy. It was the first time I realized you could be the best version of yourself, but if you're not in the right environment, you're not going to succeed. A of my recruiting class, IPFW had, they were able to snag a couple of us from that team. I had opportunities to go to University of Massachusetts, Valparaiso, Colgate was after me. It's a mid-major up in upper state New York. But I decided to stay close to home because I was going to college to get a business degree to take over my family's business. That was the most important thing to me. Yeah. The second thing was it was just great because I only had to move 30 minutes away. I was close enough to get where I needed to go. I got to compete at the highest level that I could possibly compete at, and I was able to. I don't want to say I talked into, but some of my teammates were behind the idea of staying close to home and trying to take IPFW to the NCAA tournament for the first time. That was like our big thing. Sure. We had the talent. We had it was a thing. We showed up. They sold us on playing a specific style. We didn't fit that style, so it didn't work. So I realized, wow, I could be the best version of myself, but be in the wrong system and not succeed. Mm-hmm. So after doing this for 2 to 3 years, I was tired of not winning games, and I just wasn't into that lifestyle. And I thought it was really silly. I was going to school to get a degree for a job and for an opportunity that I already had. So I was sharing these frustrations naturally with my parents, right? And my dad never went to college. He was he's self-made, didn't do all that, so he's not too emotional about that. Like it's pushed down our kids' throats nowadays. So he was open to the idea, accepting of the idea. His business was at that point to where he kind of made it, right? Bursting at the seams, working 80 hours a week, the whole 9 yards. So you can relate. So he needed me. He was like, hey, we need you. If this doesn't work out, school's always going to be there for you, what have you. So after that second season, at the beginning of the third season, I was like, I think I'm gonna take a break from this, and I'm gonna start my career. So at 19, luckily, I was smart, and my rent for my apartment was paid for the whole year for my scholarship. Mm-hmm. So I had 9 months, new salary. Man, I was able to save, a lot of cash at that age. Yep. And that put me in a position to buy my first place. So my dad actually found my first deal, and this kind of piggybacks into how I got into real estate. Was working for the business full time. It was going really well just by me being there, and my new ideas and my approach. It grew. I think we grew probably 2.5x when I started there. That's the success I had in that business, and then the early success in my real estate business. That's why and how I received that 40 under 40, my Business Weekly. Mm-hmm. So that was all transpiring at that time. But like I said, my dad got me my first deal. A former CEO of a local commercial construction company, they're no longer in business. He sold to a larger conglomerate. He had a house for his ex-wife per their alimony agreement. He had to build her a beach house on North Carolina, and he bought this house to put her in while it was being built. So house was done. He moved her out there, called us up to come service it and get it ready because he was getting ready to list it. And my dad's like, oh, well, my son's lease is about to come up on his apartment. He's approved. He's looking for his first place. And bada bing, bada boom, he was like, you know what? I'm going to throw him a bone. He's like, I had somebody who helped me out when I first got started. So I was able to get a house in 2014 at like 2010 pricing. So like automatically at purchase, I gained a ton of equity. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, great. And I never thought I was getting into real estate. I just wanted to make sure I was making smart decisions to get me closer to where I wanted to go, right? So in that meantime, I read a book called Retired Inspired by Chris Hogan. Do you know who Chris Hogan is? Yeah, I sure do. Okay. Yep. Dave Ramsey Camp. Yeah. Super cool guy. So he came out with Retired Inspired around then, and I read it at 19. Completely changed my mind. And for those of you who don't know who Chris Hogan is or don't know what the thesis of the book is, it revolves around the idea of retirement being a financial number, not an age. So that was just like mind-blowing to me because I'm goal-oriented, and whenever I've set a target, that's how I'm able to crush it. And that made me realize, wow, you can do anything if your actions align with your ambition. And so once I had that number, I was like, okay, everything I do from this point, I want to make sure it aligns with that. And so that first deal happened. I was able to. It took me 2 years to flip it. It was fixer upper. It was bare bones. I just dressed it up. And after 2 years, so I didn't have to pay capital gains on it. It was my primary residence. I sold it. Did really, really, really well on it. And at 22, that kind of cash, it was very, it was electric.
Yeah, inspiring.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, what's next? I've got to put this to work to keep going. I found another deal in my pipeline. I was at the right place. I was at the right time. I was prepared. I'm big on success. To me is when preparation meets opportunity, you'll find success. I was just prepared, and an opportunity came across me, and I had the capital, and I was able to pull the trigger on it. I found a piece of ground. It was distressed, and I got it for 1/3 of what it was valued at. Had a mobile home on it, nice barn, cleaned it up, redid the barn, and then built a spec on it, okay? At 22, 23 years old, it took me 9 months. I was gonna move into it and live in it for a couple of years and then sell it. But realized that's when the market really started to tick. I'm not sure if you could go back or I don't even know how long you've been in this, but if you were in this business in 2015, 2016, that's when it really started. When we were getting, 10% increase, 12% increase, 15% increase, that's when it really, really started. So I was like, for those of you in the 2.5, you can thank me. I was the first one. Let's go in the MLS. I'll put money on it. So I built that spec, did better than what I did in my first deal. And it was in that time, that's when I read that book, and I thought, okay, if I'm going to continue to, invest in real estate, I should probably get my license. I was single, I was young, I didn't have, too many responsibilities. I was like, I can handle this. I got my license, and I thought it was just going to be that. I was going to be able to do my own deals, maybe help out the friends and family, okay? And that was it. But me and my personality, whatever I do, I've got to do it to my best, or not at all. Right. And when I did that, my brokering business just exploded. And that's how I got into real estate. Before I got into real estate, man, I already did more than, I would argue 90% of licensed agents now have accomplished. I bought, I sold, I flipped, I built, all before I even thought about getting my license. So naturally, when I got into the business and then I just applied these core skills that I've developed my whole life, I mean, that's why everybody's seeing, what they're seeing now. So
well, that's quite a story.
That's how I got it. That's how I got into real estate. Yeah.
Well, I know you were excited about explaining that.
Yeah.
And I can see why.
You see, it's important, right? Yeah.
Your core values were determined in an early age through hard work and, fighting to survive more or less. And
it wasn't like, I don't want to dramatize it because it really wasn't like that. It was sacrifice. It was, my dad putting a foot down, coming from, because both my parents, they come from split families. It was a little different though, because everybody gets along, which is nice growing up. But he was just, I'm tired of, I want a whole house. I want, I want to change the family's direction.
Family tree.
And I was right there next to my dad, right? He's only 20 years older than me. Yep. And so I had a front row seat to what sacrifice, what hard work, what patience, doing the right thing is. And it's all I know. So when I got into this, I was like, wait a minute. You guys approach this, transactionally, or you guys, I was numb to it. So I would say a big part of my success and all of that, I mean, I can't talk about age 12 to 18 enough or thank my parents enough. Like that's really what laid the foundation for, what I'm doing now. So
that got you into it. You've been in it a while.
Yes, I've been into it. I'm sorry to cut you off. I've been into it because I wanted to answer your question.
Yeah.
I got my license in 2018. So I've been licensed I'm 27 for the record. I've been licensed for just over 3 years. Okay. It was March of whatever year that was. I know I just passed my 3-year anniversary, and it's June, July.
So it would have been 18.
So 3.5.
So what keeps you in real estate? What do you love about it?
What keeps me in real estate? That's a great
What do you like about it? Is it working with the people? Is it finding someone their dream home? What do you like about it? What keeps you going in real estate?
That's a great question. I like business. Mm-hmm. Let's go macro. I just like business. I'm doing real estate right now. What I like about business is the basic principle of problem solution. Everything else, if you can approach it from that perspective and you can apply these core values and then the tangible skills and tools, you can do anything and be successful at it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I fell into real estate, and I like real estate because I like creating. It allows me to fill and kind of explore this creative side of me that I never really got to put out there when I was growing up. Because when you grow up, you think art is like crayons, painting, right? In this day and age, creating is what we're doing right now. We're creating content. You know, it's videography, it's photography, it's anything, right? So it allows me to explore that, which I love. I've always had a knack for developing. Like my favorite part of real estate is probably the new construction or the development side. And then obviously I love the educational side, right? I love sharing. I love helping people. I mean, at its core, I just like helping people. Yep. A lot of times, I always tell people, whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're a seasoned buyer or seller, I always start with consultations. I'm like, I need to know what your goal is, because I can't help you until I know what your goal is. I have all this experience, I have all these resources, I have all these tools. I can apply them to whatever problem you have. I just need to know what that problem is, or what that goal is, and then let's go to work.
That's awesome. So, segueing into that buyer that's been looking for a house for a while right now, in a market that doesn't have a lot of houses to give.
Yeah.
If you're consulting with them and maybe they've already been looking, maybe they've had another agent or looked on their own or something, how would you encourage them right now with the market that we're in and they're having trouble finding the home they want or one that they can afford? What would be your advice to them right now?
Get educated and be patient. I know that's tough to say because some people don't have the time to get educated, or they don't have the time to be patient. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm big on communication on the front end. I always tell people, 6 to 18 months. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or building within 6 to 18 months, you need to reach out to that professional and start having these conversations. Figure out, okay, what's the climate of the market? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to sell and buy? Do you need the equity from that sale to be able to purchase? There's challenges, we can get so deep, and there's so many contextual details. It's tough to truthfully answer that, but I would say it's communication and just being patient. The more, it goes back to the core pillar, the more you can prepare yourself, the more likely you're going to succeed on an opportunity that crosses your way. And the ways that you can prepare yourself is to make sure you're in a strong financial position. And I know that right there, I think 3 out of every 4 Americans only have $1,000 saved. That's clearly a problem. So, try to educate yourself, get better with your finances, get with your financial advisor, get with your CPA, get with somebody, in your ecosystem that's successful, figure out what works for them, make sure your credit's in score, make sure you what you want to do. You've got to come up with a plan to reverse engineer that to be able to accomplish it. And that starts with the real estate agent, in my opinion. So I would reach out to a high profile agent, let them know what you want to do, get prepared, get educated, and then put in the work.
Well, folks, you got a businessman, a guy passionate about real estate here that has been highly successful at a young age. Great advice, Tyler. I would suggest if you need a real estate agent, give him a call. See what he can advise you on and go from there. So thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to give this guy a call. See his number here on the screen, and we will talk to you later.